So this is the brand new DJI RS4 Pro, and in my opinion right now, it is the best gimbal you can buy. Not just because of the gimbal itself, but really because of the whole ecosystem that DJI is crafting around this. So in order to test this gimbal properly, I've teamed up with Contrast Cine here in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're being awesome. They're giving us access to any lenses we want, so we chose to use these Cooke SP3s because they have native E-mount, because we're shooting on the Sony FX3. Also helping out, I have my two good friends, Jim Cook and John Steingard. They're two local commercial filmmakers, and it'll be really good to get their opinions on the practicality of actually utilizing all of this DJI tech. So let's see what this thing can do. Now, before we got started, I wanted to get Jim and John's opinions on what they were wanting or expecting with the RS4 Pro setup. And then at the end of the video, I will get their honest opinions on what they thought of the practicality of this DJI ecosystem and whether or not they would actually use it.
I have relied pretty heavily on DJI gimbals in a lot of the shoots that I do. I do a lot of like music videos and lyric videos and hybrids of the two. And one of the things I'm always wrestling with is like, I really need to be a single person operator. Being a single person gimbal operator it limits my camera and lens choices a lot of the time. So I'm really curious how light it is. I'm curious what features it might have to follow, what kind of automation features it might have. And I'm also really curious about the integration of the LiDAR, because that might enable people like me to use more vintage lenses, cinema cameras that don't have good autofocus or any autofocus.
We also want to be slow. Put-togethers don't need to be taking forever, and they need to be reliable. Reliable is a big one, and then just weight, making sure this thing is like, oh great, I don't want to be holding 27 pounds in my arms.
Now, to be completely upfront with you guys, DJI did send me out all of this gear to review and test before the launch. But that being said, all thoughts and opinions in this video are our own. Honestly, I've been using DJI gimbals since the original Ronin S, which at the time was really game-changing because there hadn't been anything in that form factor when it came to gimbals. And even still up to today, I use the DJI RS3 Pro for all of my commercial work, and it has been wonderful. I actually have a YouTube video where I broke down how I used to rig up my RS3 Pro, although now with all of this new gear, that might be changing. And all of the niceties that I loved on my RS3 Pro did carry over to the RS4 Pro, like those auto locks or those carbon fiber arms. Although on the RS4 Pro, they did make the arms a little bit longer and wider, which is gonna allow it to accommodate bulkier cameras like the notorious Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro, which is super wide for some reason. And even though we were attaching a ton of gear to the RS4 Pro, I love that they made it really simple to integrate in their LiDAR and their transmitter unit. But this is their transmitter, and this actually just slots in
Also, it's on
under here.
It's on the actual like articulating part of the gimbal. I guess they're not afraid to add weight, huh?
No, it doesn't seem like it. So that just slots in and then locks down. Now, when you're watching us set this up, it can look a bit complicated as we just start plugging everything in. But one of the things that they added is this cable hub, which makes it really convenient and easy to understand where everything goes because they labeled it on the unit itself, which I do appreciate because otherwise I would probably have broken it. In fact, it is actually dummy proof because there are two cables that look particularly similar, but they actually space the USB-C slightly differently on the two plugs so that you actually can't plug it into the wrong port, which I tried to do. Oh, sorry, it's wrong.
There you go.
I'm an idiot. That goes to LiDAR. Well, I'm glad they made it slightly different so you can't plug it in wrong. It's dummy proof. That's good. So then this goes
Like the
to here.
distance between the two USB-C plugs.
Yeah, it's like slightly off.
Well,
That's actually... Now, once everything was plugged in and turned on, the gimbal gave us 3 different lens presets, which we can pre-calibrate for autofocus, and it doesn't really take much time at all. All you have to do is set the focal length of the lens that you're starting with and click on calibrate, which will then find the hard stops of the lens itself. And then from there, you place a subject 1 meter away from the LiDAR system, which it tells you exactly what 1 meter is. And then you make sure that your subject is in focus, hit OK, and then do the exact same thing at 4 meters, click OK, and then you're done. You have autofocus on any lens, including my vintage Zeiss lens, which I am filming on right now, which is awesome. And I think that this was pretty much the moment that Jim and John were pretty sold on this whole DJI LiDAR gimbal ecosystem. AF enabled. Boom.
Okay. All right. It's working.
It's working.
Oh, and you know what? You know what's great? It's not too fast either.
And once everything is working, it really does feel like a magic trick. You're getting Sony level autofocus, but on these cinema quality Cook lenses.
But the thing that impresses me more than anything is that it doesn't feel like autofocus. It feels like an operator, right?
Which is
like,
a big deal.
It feels like a human being.
Now, if we wanted to, we could have had iris and zoom controls by just adding more Focus Pro motors to our setup and using something like their Focus Pull hand unit, but that's not something that we decided to mess with on this shoot, but it is something that you can do. Now, a feature that all DJI products seem to have, and the RS4 Pro is no exception, is ActiveTrack. All you have to do is have a subject in view like this with the LiDAR system and then press on the trigger once on the gimbal. I'm gonna click on this once and now walk around left and right.
Oh,
Yep.
what's up with that? Did not expect that.
Yep.
Just replaced one of our humans at a flying event.
And what's cool is you can compose it. So
you could put left to frame, right to
yeah,
frame, hold to frame.
so I think you can actually do it with a joystick. There you go. And now it should keep you there.
Are you kidding me?
Now, eventually we did step out of Contrast Cine to a park in Nashville to really see how all of this works together in conjunction. And from what we saw, it all seemed to work pretty flawlessly.
And it's working.
It's working?
Yeah, it's just immediately working.
Now, to be fair, some of this gear already existed and could work in conjunction with an RS3 Pro, for example, like the LiDAR system or the transmitter unit. That said, when we were using it on the RS4 Pro, everything just seemed to integrate so perfectly. And the RS4 Pro does have improvements over the RS3 Pro, and I'm gonna read them off to you guys because I don't wanna miss any of them, but they do have a new 4th generation stabilization algorithm, which allows for more consistent and smooth footage, a better touch display, and 20% increased motor torque as well. Additionally, their new plates have these little guides. I don't know if you guys can see this here, but these guides on them. So basically you just press that down into your camera and it's gonna make sure that your camera is locked into a perfectly straight position so that your balancing isn't slightly off. And again, you get autofocus on any lenses like those Cook SP3s, which is just icing on top. And because we had pre-programmed our focus into the gimbal for our 25, 50, and 75mm Cook lenses, switching focal lengths was a breeze. Once you switched the lens, all you had to do was recalibrate the focus motor so that it could find those hard stops again, and then you were back in business. I don't know, I just feel like DJI continues to change the game and this whole ecosystem gets better and better every year. That is just my opinion though, but Jim and John shared their thoughts on the whole entire RS4 Pro ecosystem after using it for the day.
Well, I feel like this final shot, we might as well just film it with the...
We're active tracking.
We got LiDAR.
Monitoring ourselves.
I mean,
like
come on.
A couple of narcissists. I have a take.
What is it?
My take is that like before we experienced this, I feel like there was two like start categories. There was like the solo entrepreneur video guy with a gimbal.
Call him wedding video guy, but
Wedding plus.
Wedding plus.
And then there was the large production where you have cinema lenses and a focus puller and an AC and a first AC and all that stuff.
All the things.
I feel like this creates a middle category where you can have like a small 2 to 3 person operation.
Yep.
And you could run on nice glass and a great camera. And
Yeah, I feel like this opens up a whole world for, honestly, a lot of spaces you and I operate in where we have the 3 and 4 guys, and realistically, not everybody's focus pulling every day. So that's a skill that we kind of lack in our space. And so to have this doing it for, I don't know, maybe, yeah, we felt pretty good today. So this feels like it fits a good middle section that hasn't been really catered to before. So we DJI. I think we love it.
Now, this video has definitely been more of a first look video than a total review, but I plan on making a ton more content with this whole setup because it is so cool. So if there's anything in particular that you guys want to know about the RS4 Pro or any of these accessories, please let me know down in the comments and I will try to make those videos for you guys. And this video is not quite over yet, but I do want to make sure that I quickly thank Jim and John for donating their time and their thoughts on the RS4 Pro system. Also, I want to make sure that I thank Abby, not just for being our lovely subject, but for often just picking up the camera and operating for this video. I do really appreciate that a lot. Lastly, I do appreciate Contrast Cine for being so generous with both their facility and their equipment. And again, they are a rental house. So if you guys are needing any sort of rental equipment for future shoots, definitely check them out. They ship across the entire United States. Okay, so now what are my thoughts on this whole thing? Honestly, I really do think that this is the best gimbal you can buy right now. If you've been holding out on upgrading or you just don't have a gimbal at all, I do think that the RS4 Pro or even just the RS4 are something that you should really look into. That said, specifically if you're still using the RS3 Pro, I don't know that this is a must upgrade to the RS4 Pro, unless specifically you're wanting to shoot on bulkier cameras, because the arms on the RS3 Pro are just not quite as accommodating for that. And honestly, this ecosystem and all the accessories, it's not just a gimmick. It works and it works well. Guys, I'm pretty stoked to keep using this, so please, again, let me know if there's any videos that you want me to make with this in the future. I hope that you all have a fantastic week and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy, guys.